Welcome along,
That is
weekend
unbelievable.
roundup. Oh my days. We're in for a great show today, guys. Well, what about the North London derby?
I'm not getting rattled.
And we're 3 points off top 4, so it's not looking too bad.
Yeah. Foden 88, Saka 87. I think that's wrong.
Nice that you put your top on. You want to take it off and get the branding out? Happy birthday!
Make a wish to win the league.
I did.
How much chance do Arsenal have of winning the Champions League?
0, mate.
If we got through PSV, do you think there's any chance?
No.
Hang on, let me finish.
Predictions:
2-1 Tottenham.
3-1 Liverpool.
2-0 Wolves. Chelsea to beat Man United at Old Trafford.
Still there.
You're in trouble if we win this game.
You better not lose on Saturday.
We beat the world champions this weekend. That makes you world champion.
We're the world champions, but you're not in a title.
This is why you'll never win the league.
6 million down the drain.
Robbie celebrating a 1-0 win. Abby Pilates instead of trophies. You never walk alone.
Catch us every Monday for the weekend roundup.
Yes, people, welcome back to DR Sports and welcome to the Live at 5 show. The international break is incredibly boring, but we're here to make it entertaining. With me today, 2 Liverpool fans. It's usually Arsenal fans, but it's Liverpool drowning it out today. AGT on one side, how are we?
Scholes take over today, Ached.
Yeah? Annoyingly, it's always like Laurie and Kenya and me and Robbie,
not
and
having
there's so many, but Liverpool today. And on the other side, Errol, how are we?
What's happening? How
First
are we?
time on?
First time, yeah. Little DR debut for me, yeah.
Oh, is this your DR debut?
For DR, yeah.
we love
Been in
to
the
see
building
it, but
before, obviously,
we
but
love to
obviously
see it.
on this set it'll be a first, so yeah, looking
Yes,
forward
lad.
to it, man.
It's good
Thank
to
you for
have
having us.
Yeah.
a top red in the room with.
I heard it won't be the only bit of content on DR that you're going to be on over the next couple of days.
Yeah, we did he framed it up as an emergency meeting. I said it was just a general meeting. So it's a new Liverpool roundtable discussion. Myself, Errol, and Doyle, and Errol hosted it very well. Perfect. So great stuff. And yeah, listen, it's gonna be there soon. So when is it coming out?
Emergency meeting. So it'll be out tomorrow on YouTube, I think.
Tomorrow,
yeah, tomorrow on YouTube, and obviously Samsung TV Plus. If you're watching us on there, it'll be rolling through at some point. So look, I thought what we'd do today. International break's a bit boring, but there's always so many debates that come up on social media every time, the same ones. So I thought, why don't we just settle them once and for all? Let's go through all of these things that have come up.
As long as this is the final last time we do these.
No, there's another international break in November. So then we'll resettle all the debates. There'll be new evidence that's come to light. But I thought, let's start with a recent one. Arsenal have the best squad in the Premier League. And I think it's probably a nice one to start with because I think there's reports that Gravenberch has gone down injured for you guys.
Precautionary
gone down. You were telling me that Endo might be injured, but we've had a few injuries with Odegaard going down today, so the squad's going to get tested.
Absolutely, they're going to get tested, and I think that's why, and especially in the Premier League now, the managers like to have a bigger squads where they've got no more just 13, 14 players, but you need better part of 18, 19, 20 players in some situations. You know, we've seen the great City teams down the years produce wonderful 11s and probably have a second string squad that would rival most teams to battle for top 4 as well. So it's nothing new, you know, when you're pushing on all 4 competitions as well. You're going to need a bigger squad as possible and as much quality available to kind of fill in as and when. And, you know, we've already seen it last season with our goalkeeper. Kelleher came in, done an exceptional job when Alisson kind of gets his annual muscle injury, and he's done the same again, and Liverpool went and spent best part of £30 million on a substitute goalkeeper ultimately, and now it's his turn to come in and try and fill in those gloves of Alisson Becker. So, you know, our squads are going to be tested. Do I think we've still got a good enough squad at this moment in time? Absolutely. It'd take something catastrophic from a Liverpool perspective in terms of some of our key players before I really started to get worried.
Now, AGT, just before the people that don't know, what is Liverpool's situation looking like right now with injuries? Obviously, the only one we know about, but obviously the Canate news, any update on that? Gravenberch?
Yeah, so the latest is, and we covered this earlier, myself and Doyle on Hot Topics, which is out now, if you want to go and check that out from this morning. Again, a bit of a therapy session, that one. A bit light-hearted as well, but yeah, Leone's obviously out for a year. Andy Robbo was limping off the pitch against Chelsea, but he did play 90 minutes against Greece, I think, or Belarus. It was one of the two. I know Tsimikas scored in the game for Greece. I think Scotland won 3-1 in the end. So he should be okay. Again, you know, you want a good 3 to 4 to 5 days possible training every day before a game like this on Sunday. So hopefully he pushes through. I actually think he starts on Sunday. And obviously Gravenberch came off at half time, a little bit of a precautionary one. Again,
Hamstring?
travel back to Liverpool. Where did you hear the hamstring?
Twitter.
Okay.
Reliable.
Yeah, reliable source. As things stand, I think the Holland manager came out and said that he's just immediately going back to the UK. Konate the same.
Yeah.
Again, he's struggling in form, obviously, but he's back at Liverpool now. Again, precautionary, I think. I think if there's any kind of niggles or injuries or some kind of thing that puts you off your rhythm for the rest of that training camp, when you know mentally you've got a massive game on Sunday, I just think for everyone's benefit, just go home.
Yeah, especially
it doesn't make sense to push
always err on the side of caution, especially the season, early in the season, because look, at the end of the day, we all think in isolation for what it means for our club and domestic teams, but when you deep it, there's going to be a World Cup at the end of the season, so the last thing an international manager wants to do is really hamper the ability
risk one of his players. Especially when you're playing like one qualifier and one friendly. Like if you've done the qualifier, why do you want to go and play a random friendly? Like a cap's a cap, and I get that, but I mean, what we're going to do, there's a poll in the chat of who's got the best squad depth, so get involved in that in the chat if you haven't already, but let's split it up into defence, midfield and attack for Arsenal and Liverpool, and we'll see where we're at. I think starting with defence, I can back my own club here.
Okay.
Just because we sign a centre-back every window. I think Arteta's done something like 8 transfer windows or 9, and he's signed a centre-half or a full-back in every one bar like 1 January.
You're still waiting for one to come back as well, aren't you?
Oh yeah, Hincapie's coming in. Like
yeah, at some point as well. I think defensively this season, you've kind of got to give tip your hat towards Arsenal in terms of not only that stability, you've got that continuity from a defensive back line as well. Obviously, Liverpool bringing in the 2 full-backs in the summer has changed the makeup of our defensive line. I think in terms of your defensive record so far this season as well, you've been really resolute in defence. He's looked very difficult to break down. Obviously, it took a Szoboszlai wonder strike from a free kick in order for Liverpool to get the W's over us a couple of weeks back. So I definitely think in terms of pound for pound, man for man at this moment in time, I think Arsenal probably do have more depth in, squad depth in terms of that quality in defence. But again, I think in terms of on the day, I think you can both feel as good as each other's 11s. I just think you are more settled, stable at this moment in time, understand exactly what system that Arteta wants his defenders to play, and I think it's working for you. So from your perspective, it's not broke, don't fix it. But I think Liverpool are still looking to tinker with things a little bit. They're still trying to find out who is the best back line for Liverpool at this moment. Is it going to be Bradley? Is it going to be Frimpong? There's still conversations to be had there. Likewise on the other side, Kirkes and Robbo both have had a bit of indifferent form. And it's hard to really hang your hat on any of them to be the set starter. And then obviously Konate's form so far has been very questionable this season. The only real mainstay that as a Liverpool fan we can kind of say, right, we'll go to war for is obviously the big man at back, Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, I mean Arsenal's. It seems like Arsenal have added numbers in their defence, but they haven't. It's just everyone's been so absent. It seems like we've got more, if that makes sense. Like Tomiyasu went out the door, and we've brought in Hincapie, and Kieran Tierney got released. So people that were here but were never available, we've just replaced them with more depth, which is, I guess that's the advantage we had. That the players that left us were the fringe players anyway, whereas you've obviously had Trent to replace, and Robertson's aging. So it's kind of a different process, right? Of like our depth is, we had the advantage of being able to add depth, whereas you're kind of rebuilding your defence a bit more.
And I think that's why you heard Mo Salah say that Arsenal are the favourites for the league to our very own Cecil.
Mind games.
It's mind games, but I also think he does have a point, because in terms of a squad that's been together, the core of it, when you look at the 2 centre backs have been there for 5 years each. Obviously Odegaard's been there for probably about 5 years. Saka's there. Martinelli's been there for 5 years. There's a lot of continuity and stability there, and you added your little bits that you think are going to take you from second to first in terms of a striker, even more midfield and defensive backup. So you have all the ingredients, and that's why I say whether Liverpool are in the mud or not, whether we're top or second, Arsenal should be winning the league this year in terms of one, for Arteta's sake. If he doesn't win the league this year or Champions League, I don't think most people would put up with it anymore. But also just because of the fact that they've come second 3 times in a row now, and they need it, I would say, more than Liverpool in a way. So
100%.
So I would say, they do it a little bit differently to Liverpool, but
Arsenal have been the exception to the rule as well. When you deep it, like most times you've got that kind of, that old saying that defences win your titles, goals will win your games, but defences are going to win your titles. But Arsenal been the exception to that rule the last 2 seasons. They probably had one of the best, if not the best, defensive records in the Premier League, but they've struggled to actually get it over the line. So it's obviously been the goals in certain games or losing to teams that on paper you should probably beat and putting them away to obviously to lock up the 3 points. So I think from that perspective, he's got the foundation defensively now. It's about what happens further up the pitch from an Arsenal perspective to see if they can get that magic stardust in order to add that last little bit of quality, as Alex alluded to there. That guy up top is all I heard all summer. It was the missing piece. If we get the missing piece, if we get that
the
striker,
Infinity Stones on the
literally that. If we're able to lock that in and we get that striker, then we should be able to win the league. And it's like, all right, well, it remains to be seen, but this is your best chance to do that now as well.
100%.
So yeah, I think defensively, I'll give it to Arsenal, but I think there's still conversations to be had around attack and midfield.
Yeah, I think just the last thing on that, I think you've hit the nail on the head there with the reasons why Arsenal haven't won things. Because weirdly, I think we've had the best defence in the league sort of 3 years in a row, but we've been the top scorers or the second top scorers for a lot of those seasons as well. But it has been, like you say, we'll put 6 past West Ham, we'll put 5 past Sheffield United, but then we'll go and lose to Fulham. Yeah. So our goal difference actually looks really good, but it is that, like, who's breaking down Fulham away, or when we go to Anfield, who's just doing that who's hitting that Szoboszlai free kick in the Arsenal squad? Like, no one. No. But even just picking it up from 30 yards and just hitting one, like, no one's really done that in previous years. So hopefully they get that over the line. But look, let's get into midfield. Odegaard, Norgard, Nwaneri, Rice, Zubimendi, Marino is what I can put forward for us. But I mean, you're pretty stacked.
Yeah, McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Wataru Endo, Curtis Jones,
Stefan
Bajcetic, my man.
Florian
Wirtz. And I mean, imagine if we kept hold of Harvey Elliott as well. He was, very late on. He left.
But that's a lot for a 3-man midfield. I'd say that's numbers wise pretty equal. But
yeah,
quality wise,
I'd say it's probably equalish as well. But obviously, our midfield has won a title. It has crossed the line.
I can't win any of these arguments, can I?
Yeah, you're gonna struggle with the
it's gonna be
with
tough.
the midfield because
and our midfield, like two of our midfielders were in the team of the year last year.
Yeah, McAllister and Gravenberch.
The only thing I'd say about our midfield that would give me an argument to you is, I think position for position we can fill every gap. Yeah. Like if Zubimendi goes down, Rice can do the 6. If Odegaard goes down, I didn't even mention Eze, he can come in. I feel like Liverpool, you've got so much quality, but it is the, like, if Gravenberch goes down, do you have a second 6, or is it just another quality player fills the gap? But I think quality-wise, you're right up there.
Yeah, I think the quality point is an excellent one, because I think the quality is there, but in terms of how specialist that Gravenberch has become a player in the 6 for us, he's not just a screen, or does it very simply. He's not a destructive midfielder in that sense either. He's pretty much a line breaking runner with the ball, so he doesn't really make those line breaking passes in the same way, but he's going to make those runs straight through the lines and carry the ball 20-30 yards up the pitch.
He goes from a 6 to an 8 to a 10, where he's on the edge of the box knocking it to Mo Salah, and he's just taking it 30 yards.
Exactly.
You're right.
And again, it's a very unique skill set that he's got, and we don't really have anybody else.
Yeah, like Gravenberch to an Endo, it's a DM to a DM, but the shift in everything is so different.
Stylistically, they are worlds apart. The closest probably, and again, the quality drop off is probably a big one in terms of the gap, but the closest in terms of mould and profile is probably Stefan Bajcetic. Yeah. In terms of what Gravenberch can do, they both kind of got that leggy range where they can drop a shoulder, make that turn, and break the lines with a little bit of running that they both do. But again, obviously, we've not, in a Liverpool shirt, we've not seen Bajcetic for the best part of nearly 2 seasons now. Obviously, he was away last season, then injured the season before a little bit towards the back end. So in terms of seeing if it's viable as him to be dropped in at this moment in time is probably not. So I think where Liverpool are concerned, we're probably relying on trying to keep Gravenberch, McAllister, Jones and Wirtz as fit as possible. So there's a little bit of an opportunity for rotation, but they're all still probably going to be the mainstays for that function in midfield for us, really. Whereas I think Arsenal have got horses for courses. I think there'll be some games.
I think we can chop and change more. Like I say, if Zubimendi goes down, fine, drop Rice into the 6, put Odegaard and Eze ahead of him, or you can bring Marino in there. You can sort of get away with everyone out, but I'll let you cast the deciding vote, because like you say, yours has won a title, mine hasn't won a title. So
I think you've probably got the more maybe sexy names in terms of, like, obviously Rice is in there.
Norgard.
No, but you know what I mean by that. You've got an Eze that can play in midfield, and Odegaard. These are all like creative players. But in terms of like what is going to be successful.
Yours
I
are
think the
cogs
balance
in
that
a
we
machine.
had last year. Do you know what? Last year's balance in our midfield was the first time I think we've had balance like that since Gini Wijnaldum, Henderson, Fabinho. And I think just that synergy, because you've got legs in Sobo, you've got technique in Ryan and Alexis and Dom, to be fair. You've got a bit of everything, a bit of grit, a bit of nastiness. So
we had one of the best midfields last season. I know a lot of people hyped up Newcastle's midfield, but I just thought in terms of Liverpool got the job done. Liverpool were,
that midfield did run out of steam.
Yeah,
I would say,
which is why I think the additions that we've done this season are going to be really important to that, because as we've already kind of spoken about so far, is the ability for Slot now to kind of rotate and trust other people. Form is going to really be dependent on that, and we've still got to get bed players in to get them to the high levels and where the expectation marries up to the output. At the moment, we're a little way away from that, so I can't say with the utmost confidence that our midfield is currently the best, but I think when it clicks, I think that Arsenal midfield versus Liverpool's midfield, pound for pound, I still think Liverpool probably just edge it in that midfield engine room.
Yeah, I'm alright with that, and I think it's difficult as well, because obviously Wirtz has come in for you guys, completely different profile. Like if you want to play the same formation you played last year, dropping Wirtz in as that 8 is going to be difficult. So you either have to adapt to the 2 6s and a 10, or he plays off the left. So look, there's things to work out.
I think that's the other thing as well. I think Mikel Arteta probably knows his best midfield.
Yes.
Whereas I don't think Slot does currently know what his best midfield looks like, and I think that's probably a big factor.
Yeah, and he knows if one goes out, how he needs to readdress that balance. But it is kind of like you've got to play Wirtz, but then that means that maybe you don't get the best out of these two players. It will take time to figure it out. But look, Benj in the chat says, "Whoa, thought that other guy was Doyle before it cut to him." But no, it's not.
Doyle, bro, but yeah.
But this is one I don't think we're really going to debate for that long. The forwards. Do I give it to you now, or do you want to actually?
Yeah, I'll let you argue your case in the first instance. I'll let you try and
last
argue
season
your
and
case.
this season it's Liverpool. I
think
I've said
so.
for a few seasons now, Liverpool have got the most firepower in terms of that attack. It's just, again, can it all click, and will it click in good time for Liverpool this season? I think obviously, I think a lot of football fans across the football spectrum all said if Liverpool sign Alexander Isak, just wrap the league up. And just
what are your strikers? Ekitike,
Isak. We've got obviously Caicedo. We've got Salah for that right hand side. And then Rio on the left hand side.
Frimpong can fill that right slot if Salah goes AFCON.
Dan's is in the mix as well. I think the interesting thing will be obviously how heavily reliant we are if and when Mo Salah gets up to full speed, and how heavily reliant we are when he comes to AFCON, and who then comes in and replaces him.
I think when Salah goes to AFCON, I think we're much more likely to see Ekitike and Isak in the same team. Just to balance that kind of workload and the output, because without Salah, you're probably losing 30 odd goals a season. So without him, that's where you're going to see maybe a Chiesa, Isak and Ekitike all in the same team.
Yeah, I think with our attack as well, like whether they're firing at the moment, we're still scoring quite a lot of goals. In terms of the goals that we've put in at the moment, we're still on the same amount of goals at this point of the season as we was last season. So the scoring goals isn't the problem. Whereas if I flipped it towards the Arsenal's perspective, getting the most out of a Gyökeres right now seems to be not necessarily a big ask, but that seems to be the conundrum for Arteta. How does he do that? Because you can't knock his goals, and you can't say he's not prolific, and he's got all the ability to be, up there putting up silly numbers like a Haaland has in the past. But will Arteta be able to unlock that, and will he be able to get that out of him this season, in a season where the expectation is Arsenal win because they've got that striker
Just on Liverpool's defence, right? If Jarrell Quansah was still available and at Liverpool and we didn't send him out on loan, and let's say, touchwood, he isn't, Konate is injured for Sunday, even though maybe touchwood he is at the minute, considering his form, but obviously he's okay, he plays with Virgil, he's the second in command. But if he was out, would you go with obviously Leone's injured as well? If Quansah was there, would you rather play him than Joe Gomez?
Yeah,
if you had to.
If I had to, yeah, I would just because I think Gerrard hasn't broken down.
I'd rather Joe Gomez.
I think my thing is, it all depends, right? For me, it all depends on what the Konate situation is. If Konate is going to be out for 10 days, then I'd throw Joe Gomez in, because I think that one game, and then we're going to bring Konate back, and you might have to play 2 games, you might have to play the Frankfurt in the week. We can get by. If it's a case of, Konate might be out for nearly 3 weeks, all of a sudden I'm like, I don't know if I can trust that Joe Gomez will be robust enough for 3 weeks, whereas I'd probably trust Jarrell Quansah. So it's like, I'd rather let him just find his feet and get a little bit of form in that space of time, as opposed to just hoping that Joe Gomez can last for those few weeks. Because before you know it, you could get a game and a half in, and all of a sudden Joe Gomez goes down as well, and then he's out for 6 months.
Does he score a goal before he retires? It came back up on Twitter today. It was like, I don't know what's more surprising, the fact that he's 28 or the fact that he hasn't scored.
Deep. 10
Is he 28 now?
10 seasons deep, yeah, he's been with us.
And is that Charlton as well? Was he at Charlton?
Yeah.
Not scored.
Not scored. Do you know what?
I really want it to happen.
I'm trying to think back. Have I ever seen him flick a header on and it's hit the post? Never really. And do you know what? He's a big lad as well. So I know he's normally the guy that, centre backs, they're like, right, I'll sit, you go up. Maybe Virgil's the one that was like, yo, you chill on the halfway line. But I reckon, does he get a goal before he retires, or does he get a goal for Liverpool?
A goal for Liverpool. I'm not allowing him to drop to like League One and score.
The ideal situation is we've won the league, last game of the season, we're 4-0 up, we get a penalty,
and you just stick him on it. Yeah.
You don't want like final game of the season. You need to win the league. 90th minute, Gomez
because we can't rely on
from
that
a corner.
That's just very unreal. I mean, yeah.
What was it? Tony Hibbert scored in his own testimonial.
I mean, them testimonials, the Carroll scored in his, he just ran up and took the penalty.
He did score against QPR. He needs to shoot more.
Yeah, that's true. He did have a rasper against QPR in the last game
of his. Yeah. That was unbelievable, that effort. I don't know. I lean more towards it to the point that you asked again, Kwanzaa, just because I think we may have to play him a little bit more. But I think in terms of Joe Gomez at this moment in time, it all just depends where he's up to in fitness-wise.
What happens if we go and get Gahey in January?
Brilliant. Wrap the league up again. I'll be saying that. I'll be slicking my chest out.
Liverpool did that.
Because I think with the Gahey conversations, it's just because of right now with Konate, he's the firefighter, he's combative, he's very physical. He had a stinker against Galatasaray and Osimhen, but usually he tends to do well against those type of the strikers that want to get into those kind of physical duels.
He's also got a great record in duels against Vinicius as well. I think it's like 22 duels and he's not
lost any.
Obviously that was Vinicius getting past Trent, so Konate had to come over.
That's a firefighter. That's my point.
Like his rate against Martinelli compared to Trent, the amount of times Martinelli's got it past Trent, and I've just seen it's clamped.
But where Gahey comes in, Gahey's a ball playing centre half as well, and he's so comfortable going over and covering those channels. I just think he just completes what we need in terms of that.
Especially playing in the back five at the minute where they have sort of Mitchell and Munoz stepping, so he does have to fill them wide spaces anyway. It's almost like for like in a different system, which is nice. But
which would be good to see. But we'll
just to wrap up, just to wrap up the squad depth thing. One thing I wanted to talk about quickly is I think it's been really good for Arsenal that all their signings have been forced to play. Like we were talking about this before, but Odegaard's now out for. They're saying he's going to miss 9 games. So Eze now has a run in his midfield role, which is nice. Gyökeres, Havertz gets injured, so he's just playing 90 after 90 after 90. Madueke comes in when Saka gets injured. Mosquera's already had a run in the team when realistically he might have not got a look until the cup game. So it's good that they've all had the chance to bed in and play a few games, almost be forced into the team. That might help us later down the line, that it's not we've got Liverpool at home. Saliba's gone down in the warm-up. Mosquera, you've had like 5 games a season, but like now's your time. At least he's bedded in.
He's a little bit more used to it. Let me ask you a question. How many goals are you expecting Gyökeres to score for you in the Premier League this season? What's a solid goal return for the first season for a player with his ability?
Now, I was one of his biggest doubters before he came in, and my thing was...
Did you want Benjamin instead of him?
Yes.
Okay. For what reason? Give me like a reason as to why you wanted him over Gyökeres.
There's a lot of things in Gyökeres' game that alarmed me that I didn't know how they'd come across to the Premier League, and I think with Sesko's age and his attributes, I think he's got the potential to have a much higher ceiling. So I was like, Gyökeres might be win now, but there's a risk he's nothing, whereas Sesko might struggle and then get better. So I was just leaning towards that one, and there's things that concern me. But I think Havertz in his first season played 6 months up front and ended it with 20 goal contributions in the Prem from 6 months as playing as a striker. So he's got to hit 20.
Okay.
Or we might as well have kept Havertz. So.
No, I heard that.
Do you know what? Even if it's like he scores this weekend away at Fulham and we win 1-0, that's a game that we would have drawn last year. So he doesn't necessarily need to get a bucket load, but just turn those draws into wins. Those games that we couldn't win.
Basically didn't score against any of the big 6 this season.
I don't think he'll play, to be honest.
3 so far against the big 6?
Yeah, I mean, Anfield, Old Trafford and City at home are tough asks for your first sort of 6 games in the Prem. But, I mean, I think Arteta prefers Havertz in those games anyway. Someone that can drop deep and link play. Against City, he's going to come into that midfield and help overload. I don't think he would play Gyökeres in those games. So I don't
when
really...
is Havertz back?
They're saying now a few weeks, but it's tough.
Would you not necessarily drop Gyökeres, but would you be like calling for Havertz to go straight back into the squad? Do you think that's a possibility, or do you just look at it and just think, no, Gyökeres is the one that we've got to kind of put all our eggs into that basket?
I think he does one in Europe, one in the Prem. Just take Gyökeres out the firing line, like give him some Champions League games at home, give him some easy games off the bench, and then when the floodgates open, then he forces his way into the team. I mean, we saw it last year with Gabriel Jesus, sort of bagged a hat-trick against Palace and then scored a brace against Palace the next game, and from then on, Havertz dropped into midfield and it was place. I think he does that, but look, the final statement: Arsenal have the best squad in the league. Do we agree or disagree? Because I think we've given you attack and midfield was close, and we took defence.
Over squad depth and not just 11. I'm going to say I'm agree with the statement.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Yeah. Right, next one. It's international break, so it's obviously going to come up. Eden Hazard versus Mo Salah versus Alexis Sanchez. He's been thrown in there.
Whoa, what are we doing? We're not shoehorning man into this conversation. Like there's one person and Hazard is clinging on.
Do you know what? If anything, Sanchez Hazard can have their own thing.
Bro, I'm here for that.
Well, someone said to me the other day that if
their numbers are probably fairly close.
If you do, I think if you do their goals and assists per appearance in the Prem, Sanchez is better than Hazard. But obviously Hazard won stuff and was a lot more entertaining to watch. But the reason this has come back up again is because Salah played at Stamford Bridge, didn't play great, got a lot of criticism. But then Hazard rocks up, I think the same age, maybe 1 year older, in a charity match.
Legends game.
In a Legends game. And it's kind of, well, you know, even Salah, the fact that he's still playing and we're still saying, how are you not scoring 30? This is poor for you. Settles it, surely.
As football fans, we've got short memories because you say, oh, you know, he turned up to Chelsea a couple of weeks ago and he dropped a stinker. Yeah, fine, he did. But what have Liverpool done in the last 6 months, and who was the spearhead for that level of success at Liverpool? It was Mohamed Salah, winning us on number 20 in the Premier League. That is the levels and the tenacity of the man. He dragged us to a league title because he's just that clutch. 6 months ago, what was Hazard doing? Probably sitting at home
even
playing
his country, he's dragging Egypt to World Cups.
Guys.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and again, Hazard was a great player at this time, and he lit up the
ruined
Prem
us a few times,
bro. He cut us open on enough occasions. I remember that one. Away. Bro, ridiculous.
Anfield, he scored some like mazy runs,
just ridiculous goals. Like
the one in the Carabao Cup, wasn't it? That's what they always say. If you see a Hazard comp, check the patch on the arm because it might be Carabao and it might be Europa.
Yeah, but he was just quality and fair play. I think you know, it always comes down to what you like the eye test stylistically. I don't care what's he done for me lately, and I know my guy has just been updating FIFA Ultimate Team and opening packs for the last 12 months.
I think in the Premier League he's probably got a record for breaking the most records.
Yeah,
probably.
If that's a record,
most records broken in the Premier League record.
Yeah, and that's Salah. Like
probably
Salah is only ridiculous. Salah. And let's just be fair about it. Nobody ever, even Liverpool fans, when we signed him, we thought we was going to get a good player and we hoped, we'll get the most out of you and you'll be a good player for us. But no one gave him any grace to say, oh, he's going to be a one season. After that, he's a one season wonder. That's all he's going to do. He's nearly 7 seasons deep.
No, it's more than that.
Silly numbers.
This is like
8, 7.
Yeah, it's like 2017 somewhere he signed, I think. Is it 17, 18?
19.
He's been here a while.
21. 22, 23, 24.
Yeah, 8.
8 seasons deep now. Do you know what I mean?
So even the longevity thing, because people say Hazard peaked before, but I mean, if he's doing it for 8 seasons,
and a bad season for Mo Salah is what
19, 20 goals, something like that.
24 goals.
Was it Hazard went goalless for 8 months?
Yeah.
Or something that season.
Could never be Mike.
Yeah, the problem with Salah, I think the thing he'll always suffer with.
You're never going to get 2 Liverpool fans here.
I don't agree. I also agree with you as well. If I threw Sanchez in there, just
at this stage now. By the way, he's still adding to these numbers, so it's not like Salah's retired last year and it's his nostalgia. He's still doing bits. Obviously,
at the top level.
Last few weeks he hasn't been, but he's still got at least another this season plus next season at Liverpool to even add and try and get maybe second
top goal scorer of all time.
I'm trying to see what people are saying in the chat.
The fairer comparison is Sanchez Hazard. That's the shout.
Yeah, I think the one thing he'll always suffer from Salah is he's not nice to watch, but it literally doesn't matter.
I don't like that.
You try being a Liverpool fan, though. Trust me, I don't hear Liverpool fans say he's not nice to watch.
Do you not think?
When Salah's, don't get me wrong, Salah over the last, and again, a lot of football players, you'd like look at the likes of Ronaldo in terms of he just turned into a output merch. Messi's gone down a similar route to an extent. The ability that Salah had for a couple of seasons under Klopp, from about 17, 18 to about 2021, he was involved in a lot of Liverpool's play. He was involved in a lot of our build-up. It's only the last 2 seasons really where he's been the outball. He's been that last. He's become the finisher.
He's the last phase of the play rather than the first, which is
exactly. So from that perspective, you always expect him to have less impact in terms of his overall performance. However, in terms of the output, he even said to Slot last season, look, I can help you win the Premier League, but it's going to have to change the style.
No, I'm not tracking back.
I'm not tracking back and doing all of the dog work. I'm going to stay closer to the goal, but I'll get you. And I hope similar conversations have happened again. But obviously, we just need to try and get the output out of him again this season. I think it is going to be more of an output basis for Salah from now until he retires or he moves on from Liverpool. But you just can't knock his overall contributions and his impact on what this Liverpool squad has been under the last 10 years.
I think the only way you can settle this debate is you say Salah is clearly the better player, but I preferred to watch Eden Hazard. That is the only statement I think you can make and stand by. You can prefer Hazard if you want. He scored some great goals. You can prefer to watch it. Like if I was to say, I've got 5 minutes spare, I'm going to sit down and watch a comp of a footballer, I would probably prefer to watch a Hazard comp. But I think Salah's
an hour for Mo.
Yeah.
There you go. Anyway, on to the next one. Ruben Amorim's start is comparable to Arteta's, and therefore he should be given more time. And now this has come up because
No, it's not.
Wait, say that again.
It was Ratcliffe came out and said, we've got to give Amorim time. Look at Arteta at Arsenal at the start. He got given time. It was rough. Now, in their first 50 games, Arteta got 27 wins. Amorim got 19. Amorim got 19 losses and Arteta only got 13. Arteta scored more goals, conceded a lot less goals. And he won a trophy.
I was going to say, put some respect on Arteta's name there for a sec as well, to be honest with you, because I think... Really? In that initial period, I think they both struggled. I think at the time, both teams or hierarchies within the teams knew that rebuilds were going to be needed, and it was about a new chapter for both of the football clubs. I think they had tried the thing with Unai Emery, probably a little bit short-lived, but he was ready to pull the plug quickly. Obviously, Manchester United have had a few iterations of utter failure over the last 10 years. But in terms of comparing the two, I haven't, at least with Arteta in that first 6-7 months, obviously the FA Cup was able to give him that little bit of grace, but he leaned heavily on the players that you could rely on. So I know Aubameyang was really prominent at that time before he fell out. Obviously he started to phase those players out, whereas I don't think you can look at that Amorim side at this moment in time and think he's got a real handle of being able to turn the ship round for them. I think they're just going to languish and struggle for...
And it was his first job in management as well, Arteta. It's not like he's gone and won multiple leagues in Portugal. And I think, AG, one of the big things that people talk about is when Arteta came into Arsenal, we were playing 4-3-3. It was horrendous. So he went, we're going to a back five. Maitland-Niles is playing wing back with Bellerin. We're going to put like Tierney and David Luiz and Holding in there because we cannot defend, and we're going to just scum our way to an FA Cup because we are not as good as City or Chelsea. So we're not going to go toe-to-toe. We're just going to find a way to win and then go from there. Whereas Amorim's not doing that, which is like maybe his biggest fault. That may be the difference. If Arteta was happy to chop and change and then slowly bring his ideas in when he got the players capable. Whereas
that's the sensible and professional thing and just logical thing to do with pardon your pun, with the Arsenal available to you. Right, can we act like this now because we haven't got him? We actually wanted that guy, but we've only got this guy. We're just going to have to do what we can, sit in and do the job that's needed to be done. With the strikers, obviously, at the time that you had, that helped you out a lot.
Oh, yeah, it was literally just
them or bust, basically.
It was sit in a back five when you get it, try and hit Lacazette, Aubameyang and Pepe and hope that you can win the game, and it worked. But
you can't compare it to Amorim because... to Arteta, because again, look at the squad that he inherited. I mean, you did win an FA Cup with it, but compare that to now, it's night and day. Whereas Whereas if you compare Amorim, what he's walked into, yes, a failing team, but he still had how many windows has he had now?
Who?
2.
Amorim. He had the January and the summer, yeah.
So I think after 2, you definitely get a good idea of the dead wood that's left, and then the ones that are left, how can you work with them, mould them? He's already come out and said that if they want to change a system, they're going to have to change the manager. He's very bold and he stands on business.
Well, that was what.
But that also, if you're not winning,
it's a double-edged sword.
It's a double-edged sword, because you can say, well, I'm not changing. It's like, well, maybe you should, because you've got 19 defeats here. And he's like, well, and he's very strong and wrong.
Very much so.
So far.
But I think he hasn't been helped by the fact that Ten Hag before him kind of wanted to have that level of stubbornness for a period of time, but then I wouldn't say quickly realised, but he eventually realised that actually he wasn't ever going to get the players that he had available for him at Manchester United to play the Ajax way.
He forced out Ronaldo. He tried to say, this is Man United, you're Ronaldo, but I'm the manager, and I think quite quickly that was one that he learnt from.
Massively, and I think he then changed it, and then I think a lot of players lost a little bit of respect for him. He eventually loses the dressing room, and then obviously goes. Amarin's probably seen a lot of that play out publicly. He's heard about it, and he's thought, no, by hook or crook, this is a hill that I'm going to die on. I am going to die on this. We're going to play 3 at the back, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to have wing backs. And at this particular moment in time, I just don't think he had the players. Manchester United have never really played with that type of system or formation. So he's never really had the players to be able to do it. And I speak to a couple of Manchester United fans often, and they say it's not necessarily the setup that they've got a problem with. It's the in-game inflexibility. So he's not flexible in-game to just change things, personnel, drop people in, just pack the midfield a little bit to be a little bit more, not necessarily combative, but to have a little bit more muscle in that midfield, because they just get run through far too easily. So things like that, where you think at some point the penny will drop and he'll learn from his mistakes, he doesn't seem to have. Whereas, as AJT said before, Arteta waited and started to slowly add the ideas that he wanted into his team once he kind of realised his job was safe and he was going to get the grace of time to do it. Whereas Amarin's probably doesn't feel like he's running out of time, but from the outside looking in, you're thinking, how much longer can this level of poor form continue? And you're not really pushing Manchester United back to where they would want to be, I should say.
I mean, it's 40-something games out of 50 that he's subbed a centre-back for a centre-back. There's been multiple times this season that he's taken off his left wing-back because they need to go more attacking. He brings on Mason Mount, but then puts Mount as left wing-back. Like, there's no flexibility whatsoever. So are we agreeing not comparable at all?
No.
Not comparable?
No, not
Does he deserve more time based on the example?
Give him okay. Just sign him up for life, man. Let him have his team.
He was the one, though, I'll be honest, thinking back to the time when he joined United, he was the one where even I went, I know that Liverpool have come out and said that they didn't offer him anything as Liverpool manager, but there was naturally rumours, wasn't there, for Amarin?
He didn't try and barter a West Ham contract against you.
Yeah, so that was a big wrong move there on his part. But he was the one where I was like, this is going to be the guy actually that makes United not back to winning doubles and trebles, but at least gets them fighting for fourth and
makes them relevant again.
Makes them relevant again. I thought it was going to be him, but I'm so glad I was wrong.
Well, we will see on
so glad I was wrong.
Sunday.
Well, Sunday is Sunday.
It's a one-off game. Sunday's a one-off game.
Even if he wins that game, he's not going to become Sir Alex Ferguson.
Where can the people find your match reaction to that? Just in case you do. Just in case, where can the people get their popcorn and find you afterwards?
No, I'm still confident we'll win the game. I'm actually refusing. I'm going to do a match preview on the Cop TV with Flex on Thursday. And I'm saying it now. I am not going to do a score prediction for that game.
You looking at me?
I'm not asking. I'm just looking.
Early in the week to be asking.
It is so much.
You don't know who's available.
Sunday,
but no, the next thing that's come up on social media, everywhere you look, who's the best midfielder in the Prem? Is it Declan Rice or is it Caicedo? I think
try and grab him, bitch.
Paul Scholes threw Tonali in there.
Try and grab him, bitch.
And then a week later, and then came out a week later and changed his mind and said McAllister and Rodri are above Tonali. But
the thing is, right? 2 weeks ago when Grav scored that great little lob against Everton, it was unanimous. He was the best midfielder in the Prem.
People saying the world.
2 weeks later in the world. 2 weeks later it's Caicedo. Let's. I mean, we can all talk.
And now he's not even a conversation.
Players.
Apparently, yeah, he's not even
exactly.
a conversation.
Now we can talk about form players, who's the best right now, etc., etc. End of the season, let's have that conversation. Say who's the best centre mid.
But again, I don't think we need to do. I think you're being kind. I think you're being very charitable, that, because it's not been long since the player of the season, team of the season was announced, and Caicedo wasn't in that mix. Don't get it twisted. Chelsea went and won the Club World Cup. Chelsea went and qualified for Champions League. So
they won the conference and everything.
He won so by all accounts, I don't know. Obviously, you're looking at that as
like he should have been there if he was about.
Do you know what I mean?
What we thought.
If he was about that life and he was as good as he was, given all of the accolades, given the success from last season, he'd have got more nods towards being in that team of the season, but he wasn't. McAllister was in that midfield for team of the season. Ryan Gravenberch was in there, and Declan Rice was in there. So, you know, that was the best part of 6 weeks ago. None of those three players have fell off. Like McAllister, maybe he's probably the one whose form's in the worst at the minute. But none of those have fell off a cliff enough for you to say all of a sudden they're no longer in the conversation and it's all about Caicedo. To me, it just seems very reactionary. It seems a little bit silly, to be honest with you. In order for Caicedo to get into the conversation, like AJT says there, come and see us at the end of the season and see what he's got, what medals he got wrapped around his
put your
neck.
medals on the table. Whoever said that,
and
we'll
have the combo all the time.
Put your medals on the table.
At the end of the season, we'll see what's good.
I mean, you're right with it being so reactionary as well, because people were saying about, you know, Caicedo, he can now shoot as well as Declan Rice. Look at the goals he scored. And I saw someone on TikTok made a video comparing Rice's last 10 goals to Caicedo's last 10 goals, and he realised that Caicedo hasn't even scored 10 in English football. He had to go back to his loan in the Belgian league to find 10 goals away, and Rice's was last year.
Yeah.
But if we are just to narrow it down to Rice and Caicedo, the way that I've been debating it with Chelsea fans is I think Declan Rice has a lot more to his game than Caicedo does, but I think a lot of the things that Caicedo can do, he can do better than Declan Rice. I think maybe a fair way of putting it.
Yeah, maybe. I see. I'm not gonna lie. This is probably the one season where I've got a little bit of an agenda against Declan Rice.
Of course.
And you have to let me land on this one, Carl.
All right.
I said on the show the other week, I was like, look, Declan Rice, if he doesn't have his medals on the table at the end of this season, because bear in mind, when you bought him, obviously you spent the bag over 100 M's, you got Declan Rice, he was meant to be transformative, he was meant to move the needle in the same way Virgil van Dijk and Alisson did for Liverpool, for us to be able to go and win the big trophies, right? If Declan Rice fails to win a major for Arsenal this season, he is a poor man's Jordan Henderson. I've said it.
No comment from me. I'll pass it over.
It's a
poor
big,
man's Henderson.
Poor man Jordan Henderson, bro. Jordan Henderson put his medals on the table. Jordan Henderson can have those conversations. Jordan Henderson's been there, dragged England semi-finals, nearly finals. Jordan Henderson has been about that life, and I'm not saying
Rice has got a European trophy.
Was that for Arsenal?
No,
There we
wasn't even for Arsenal.
There we go. So now you're defending what he did in the West Ham shirt.
Oh, he's got a Community Shield. Sorry.
You're making your arguments even worse. You're doing your arguments
He's
even
making it
more.
worse. You know, in our Champions War at Anfield, we don't even have the Community Shield on there, and we've won about 20 of them.
There we go.
So if they want to add that, then we wipe the floor even more. But we won't add that. That's fine. Rice is a poor man's Hendo if he doesn't win a trophy. What about if he wins the Prem and Champions League next season? Is he still that?
Well, as I say,
Until it happens.
Until it happens.
How old is he going to be at the end of next season?
I think
Rice?
he's like 26 now. Have a look.
Oh, so we need 27 to going on to
Is there a
28?
world in which Arsenal, you know,
He's 26.
don't win the league this year?
So January he turns 27.
Is there a world in which they don't win the league this year and next year, and Rice just leaves and goes, I need to win a league?
The thing is, I don't know where he'd go. I think when
City.
Yeah.
City might need more muscle in that midfield. At that
just
point,
think-
Rodri might be.
Chelsea at that point.
But Arsenal wouldn't sell him to them.
I don't think-
That's the thing.
Yeah, you would.
I think
or we
You
demand
sell to Chelsea all the time.
No, we buy from Chelsea. We don't sell. They don't take our players. It's a one-way
business
friendship.
with everyone.
I don't know. I just think Rice he's got that in him where he wants to win. I just don't know if he alone is going to be enough of a player to drag you. And obviously, you say, you know, you guys are got waxing lyrical about is what he did in the Champions League over Real Madrid, and that's all you've got at this moment in time for the heights of a Declan Rice. And I just think for a player with the money that you just spent on him, bringing him in with the expectation that he was going to go on to win you a league at this moment in time, I'm like, until you do that, I am not going to give you the full flowers that you deserve.
Let me also
in that
say,
team,
this is a mad comparison, Declan Rice and Hendo, but who would I rather choose as like a footballer to play in my team? It would be Declan Rice over Hendo.
Yeah.
But who's the man who's going to get you from second to first? It's Hendo.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that you can say with, obviously, comparing him to Henderson's wild, but when you spend £105 million on a player, they need to make the difference. You can't play that, they're a midfielder. So
we paid 20 mil for Henderson. He won absolutely everything.
19, I think.
Was it 19? Yeah, obviously. Won absolutely
I remember
everything.
being with my cousin in Madrid where he lived during the summer, top red, and I come through on our phone, we've just spent 20 mil on Jordan Henderson. This was June 2010.
Who signed him?
2011.
Kenny Dalglish.
And my cousin went, oh my God, we just spent 20 mil on this little rat. I remember he said that exact words, and I went, who's that? And he showed me it was Hendo. And bro, 12 years later, he won everything.
Absolutely. And I think the expectation was never that Jordan Henderson was going to take us to the Holy Grail. That was never it. But he had to work for it, and then he went and done it.
That's why I respect his story so much.
You've got to put respect on his name. Yeah.
And then actually, it's grown a little bit. Now he's back at Brentford.
Full.
Do you reckon he makes it to the World Cup? Just on Henderson?
I think so.
Because he's been
I think Tuchel. I don't know why. I don't know what it is.
If you're on a one tournament contract and you're putting him in all of your squads, surely you wouldn't be doing that if you weren't going to take him.
Yeah.
If he gets into the November one and then the March one, then you know he's going.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't get into the November one and you see maybe a Wharton or Elliot Anderson, Bellingham, Rice, I think there's probably enough there to not need him.
But I also just think there's space in that England side at the moment for some experience. I know you've got the likes of Harry Kane in there, but there's quite a young squad from an England perspective. So to have somebody who's been there, done it all, won it all, again, just in case you forgot, I think it is always good to be able to rely on somebody like that. Obviously, you're going to have loads of talented
Jordan
players.
Henderson is a Liverpool legend, though.
Connor Green in the chat says, "Please tell me they're not comparing Henderson to Rice." Connor, I'm afraid that we are.
We are. For good reason. Though. You can laugh as much as you want.
I asked you Rice and Caicedo, and somehow Caicedo escaped the whole debate.
Richard just said this is another HRMC case. Comparing Henderson to Rice is mad.
All right.
Liverpool won the league post Henderson and would have won those trophies without him.
I don't know, I don't know.
Well, Football Lad in the chat also says that Rice isn't at the level of Carrick, Hargreaves, Barry or Henderson. So he's quadruple down. So,
wow.
I mean, I was going to ask you to round up. Are you saying Caicedo or Rice? But we might as well say it'll be Rice or Henderson.
How have I hijacked this segment?
Okay, if we go back to your 1920, go back to your 1920
okay,
team.
prime Hendo.
1920.
Wait, are we doing Hendo or Caicedo? What are we doing?
So your 1920 league-winning team, is it 1920?
Yeah.
I'm telling you that you can take Henderson out of that team and have current Declan Rice in there.
We still win the league.
Yeah, we're still going to win the.
So it's like how many points you get? 99 or 109?
Yeah, but do you win the Champions League? Does he give you that extra?
Well, it's Adrian's fault.
There's no way
Henderson.
we're saying Henderson.
Do we get the double that year, do you reckon, if we have Rice?
It was the goalkeeper's fault, though, man.
Yeah. I think in terms of players' ability, don't get it twisted, and I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm saying. Ability-wise, Rice has got more natural ball-playing ability than Jordan Henderson. Yeah. But in terms of, again, I always go back to again, you've got to remind you that this is just in context. Henderson is like a Ronaldo type player where Ronaldo wasn't naturally gifted to be the best.
There's another
No, it is, but he wasn't like he wasn't naturally gifted to be the best in the way that Messi was just naturally gifted and born to play. I think Rice is in that mould. Henderson's had to work to get every ounce of talent out of his career in the same way that Ronaldo's drained every ounce of his talent to get the best out of his career. But I definitely think in terms of standout player, I think Rice is probably better.
I mean, Yeet in the chat says AGT is going to get cooked for this. So I don't know why you're catching strays for his take. But yeah, you're getting cooked for this.
What did you say FP for? What have I done?
Is that 50 cent?
What do you mean for? No, I mean, it wasn't my shout, but...
it is now. It can.
You're a co-conspirator there.
No, man, my Cody's doing me dirty. I actually really enjoy watching Declan Rice play football, even in training. I think the way, because the closest I've kind of seen him play is I was front row in the Kop and when he played for West Ham, and like the noise that the ball makes when Declan Rice passes the ball, you hear it and you go, oof, like he punches it in. Technique, I grew up playing for our school in a team of an old mate of mine called Liam, and he played for Spurs up until about 17, and I actually compared my mate Liam, how good the level he was, to Declan Rice. Just everything's like, you just can't get beaten, you can't really get round him. He can whip a corner in. The free kicks, as we know, great technique.
His dead ball delivery.
He's got legs in the 91st minute to track back and stop a corner. Like he's a pleasure to watch, Declan Rice. But I think there will be a case at some point in his career, whatever point that is, where he will want to. If he's not doing that at Arsenal, he definitely will want to leave and win some massive honours.
Yeah, I mean,
he deserves them.
100%. The problem is when you're on big wages and you play for a top team in the Premier League, there's not many clubs around Europe that will be able to afford your wages. So unless somehow he manages to get a move to a city or somewhere, it's going to be tough for him. I think you do kind of commit your career here, but like you say,
got to win, no?
Yeah, you put your medals on the table. There's only one thing that matters when your career finishes. Whether you got 57 assists from corners but didn't win a league, you'd rather have Henderson's career.
Yeah.
A bit like the whole Vardy and Kane thing.
Exactly.
Kane's a far better player than Jamie Vardy, but
Jamie Vardy's got
one can put a prem on the table.
And the other can't.
Nems in the chat is coming to back you up, AGT. I'm guessing he's a COP follower. Nems LFC
I
is.
think he's a mod for the COP TV. So
There you go. Now we'll give one for the Spurs fans. Romero is one of the best defenders in the league, and the way I want to frame this is there's currently a bracket where Van Dijk's obviously at the very top.
I'd say he barely makes the top 10.
Yeah. So Van Dijk's at the very top of the hierarchy on his own, like head and shoulders on his own.
Is he even Spurs' best defender though?
I think so. And then you've got
Van de Ven's
I was going to say, isn't Van de Ven the one that they posted?
I think that they put Romero's a better defender, but Van de Ven obviously has the pace to make up for a lot of it. He's nicer to watch. Same way Gabriel's probably better than Saliba, but Saliba's the Rolls Royce. I think they have the same thing.
Name all the ones better than him. Van Dijk,
Saliba, Gabriel.
Konate's definitely.
Konate's better. Murillo, is he Forest?
No, let's go bigger names than that. Like
I still think
Ruben
I
Diaz,
still
John
think he's better.
Stones,
Mark Gay,
Mark Gay, yeah.
So there's 7.
Nikola Milenkovic.
Not Botman, who's the other one that they are? Not even sure. Who's the other one? Dan Burns.
Yeah.
Last 6 months, Dan Burns has been on smoke.
Okay,
I think Van de Ven's better than him.
So I've just found a list here from
Levi Colwell's better than him.
Give Me Sport have named their best 15, and they've got him 12th. And above him, they've got Gay. They had a Kanji, who's obviously now left. Stones, Jean-Paul Van Heck, Mickey Van de Ven, Ruben Diaz, Milenkovic, Konate, Gabriel Saliba, Van Dijk.
So pretty much what we said.
Yeah.
So we're saying he's not a top 10.
See, that's ball knowledge. We said he barely makes the top 10.
And then someone's gone and named. Right. Now, one that's come up from one of your legends.
Go
on. Gerrard was asked by Rio Ferdinand about the debate, and he said in the modern era, he thinks he would struggle the most out of them, and he reckons Paul Scholes would be head and shoulders the best of the Gerrard Lampard Scholes debate.
Okay.
Based on modern where the game is now.
It. Basically, he's saying like, I used to smash into people first minute, let them know you're there. You can't do that now. But he's playing himself very, very down.
I think he was.
His game was just not about smashing into people like some people say that Roy Keane's was, which I don't agree with. But Steven Gerrard is massively underplaying himself, because it wasn't just that. He was a passer, a header, a assister, a goal scorer, a leader. He is the best player in any position that he plays in on the pitch. He's the best player. Scholes has come out before and said, I could never do what Gerrard did for Liverpool, but could he do what I did at United? Yeah, probably. Lampard has come out. We know that he always backs himself in terms of goal scoring. But Chelsea tried to buy Steven Gerrard. Manchester
for a reason
tried to buy Steven
Real
Gerrard.
Real Madrid tried to buy Steven
Inter Milan tried to buy Steven Gerrard, and he said no to them all and stayed. And he clearly in every single category is the best.
Wherever Mourinho went,
he tried to bring Gerrard.
I just think I think what, as you said, that he's doing himself a disservice. But on top of the disservice, I think he under kind of recognises the other players and the way that the game's moved on. They would thrive off somebody like Steven Gerrard,
his
the engine, the hub in that midfield, running things.
Some of them, the comps that are even coming out now of like a Champions League game in 05, group stage against Monaco, it's like, oh my God. I actually think we were, at the time, obviously we were young when we were...
not appreciating it fully.
I don't think we appreciated it fully, bro.
Yeah, I mean, his point...
As a kid... You only really watch games, so you're not really fully engrossed into what's going on.
The goals get you, but other than that, you don't really notice.
Things just pass you by.
Passes, it's just watching him for a whole game. It's like he plays a different game.
His range of passing, his athleticism, his engine, his desire, that leadership quality, all of those things now. Again, most players that watch him would be like, right, I am going to try and emulate everything that you do in the game. I'm going to try and build
Bellingham
my game
said,
around
he
you.
grew up watching
Steven Gerrard. Like, ridiculous. Even Sedan, back in real time, was like, this guy's the best midfielder in the world.
There's the reasons for Alex Ferguson on England international duty. He got Gary Neville to knock on Stevie's hotel room door and float the idea. You know, how many times did he almost go to Chelsea as well? His book's up there. I'm looking at him now. It's just, yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from Scholes or Lampard either. You know, you've got to respect what they did in the game, and as I say, put the medals on the table again. I just think in terms of the modern game, I think Steven Gerrard would have been able to have adapted so much better.
And let's not forget, he was already adapting in 2014-15 as a deep line playmaker, a quarterback. And he was still
he started right back, went 8, did a little stint as a 10 with Torres, and then finished as a 6. So he has kind of been there and done that. I think his point was, he feels like Scholes back in those days, because he weren't the quickest, playing in the 2-man midfield, get a Vieira on him, you can sort of knock him off his game. He's just saying nowadays he'd be a joke, but I think he's doing himself a disservice.
I think he is.
Because he was like, I'd get sent off too often. I don't think he would.
I don't think he would. I think he'd get on to it. I think he's a clever man as well, Steven Gerrard. Like, you've got to be able to appreciate the IQ, the football IQ that this guy had. He would have been able to have adapted to this game easily. And as I say, imagine it, you know, even if you were to put him in like a prime club team with the likes of a Salah and a Mane and a Bobby in the mix, the way that he would have had the link up, and we've seen how much Trent was a benefactor of being able to whip those balls in and the delivery. If you had that in midfield, in the sense, and it would have been curtains.
And imagine, bro, we were 1 year away from seeing a Gerrard Klopp relationship.
I know, mad thing.
That'd have been great. I mean, one in the chat that you'll be able to get back at quite quickly. Yeet says, Romero beat Kanate in a World Cup final. Your ball knowledge is dead. So I've done the HMRC VAR review. Kanate came on in the 113th minute. So I feel like that's a little bit harsh.
Bro. Sorry.
I don't know if you can necessarily put that one against Kanate.
Like Yeet. Hold
that.
Dat.
It was Upamecano and Varane.
Yeah, it was.
So last one before we finish off. If there's any in the chat you want us to go through right at the end, we'll do it. But I want to get your perspective. A combination, we've already spoken about it a bit. Arsenal should have signed Sesko, and Havertz will displace Gyökeres. So basically, what do you think of Gyökeres? What do you think of Sesko? Did Arsenal do the right thing?
I don't think either of them are like really getting me off my seat at all. Not yet, maybe, but I can't see Sesko from here going on like a hot streak where he's scoring 10 goals in a row, a la Ruud van Nistelrooy, Rooney, Tevez in the past. I just don't see him doing that. But then I can say the same for Gyökeres.
The only argument is that people would say that in 3 years' time, Sesko will be 25, Gyökeres will be 30. So it's like if you can have prime Sesko, like he'll reach where Gyökeres is now in like 5 years.
But again, you've seen it with Rasmus Højlund now. He's gone off and he's started to play his season a little bit better. And again, maybe it's the issue with Manchester United at the moment. Like Chelsea have had it down the years. The number 9 curse. They just really struggle to find a number 9 that really suits the club, suits the style.
When you give the number 9 to Steve Sidwell, you deserve the number 9.
Okay. Oh yeah, 100%. But it's carried over. Man United have got their own sort of iteration of it at the moment. I think the Arsenal thing, the most important thing for Arsenal is, Arsenal fans will not care how prolific Gyökeres is this season if you go and get the league over the line. If he's just another piece to the puzzle, sound. You know what I mean? If you look back and
sell him in a couple of years,
he'll be 29 in a couple. If you give him 2 seasons, he'll be 29.
But if you've one Premier League in the next 2 years, it's money well spent.
Yeah, then we don't care.
Whereas,
even if he only scored 13 goals, you mean?
14. They would not care. I wouldn't blame you, but you can kind of see there's a very clear defined end goal for Gyökeres. We've got a short window of time to get the best out of him at this club in order for Arsenal to win. What's that defined level of success for Benjamin Sesko at Manchester United?
If he gets 29 and it's not worked out, then he can probably go. But with Sesko, I think the ceiling is probably higher than Gyökeres, only because time's on his hands. But again, we've seen big name strikers, big money strikers go there, and it's just an absolute...
It's a graveyard shift. It's a proper graveyard. But this is my point, though. Like, what is success for Benjamin Sesko? Even if Sesko had he went and got 25 goals in the Premier League this season, but United still went and finished in the top 10 and missed out on European places, people will still be blaming him at some point for not being... Do you know what I mean? It's like, how good can he be?
How big do you think the gap is now? Because they've both got 3 goals. No. Gyökeres has 3 goals, 1's a penalty.
Yeah.
Cesco has just 2 from open play. So is the gap that, and the teams they're playing in as well, is there a big enough gap for Arsenal fans to sit
Still
back
too
and
early to
say,
say.
this is the win now, this is the project?
No.
Like, are they that far
Still
apart?
way too early to say.
Yeah.
I think. Let's get to the new year and see who's in double figures.
Yeah, I wouldn't put my money on it, either of them right now, to be like, we've won a transfer window on either of those two
Definitely
signings,
not.
to be honest.
Because that was the big thing. It was Gyökeres' win now, Cesco's the project, Arsenal need to win now.
Yeah.
But the project striker's got the same amount of goals, open play goals, in a worse team. So, I mean, there's a lot of Arsenal fans
Which can
that
happen.
are...
Look at Liverpool. Everyone was like, we've got Ekitike. Isaac's understood. Ekitike's coming in, hit the ground running. You in football's never played on paper. Do you know what I mean? It's what these players are able to come and do when you get on the pitch. So, I think at this moment in time, the real winner will be come the end of the season. Does Cesco get Manchester United back into European spaces? They'll see that as progress, because again, he's a project and he can build on the next phase of that, and vice versa for Arsenal. Does Gyökeres get them over the line? And if you do, both of them will be considered relative successes. If you both fall short, again, there's probably been a little bit of a blunder there that's been had.
Yeah, I mean, so last thing before we wrap up then, I just want to know where you're at with the title race, because we have so many Arsenal fans on these shows. I need a real quick who wins it. We've got about 30 seconds.
Liverpool still win the Champions League.
That's not why I asked.
And the Premier League. No, Premier League only. Liverpool still win. Liverpool still got to be my favourites.
Yeah, Liverpool still favourites to win the league.
All right, and I will sit on the fence because I'm allowed to do that because I was hosting the show. But look, it's been great having you both on. I've really enjoyed sort of
Appreciate it.
debunking some of these myths from the international break. Obviously, as we are every day, we'll be live at 5 tomorrow. I think it's Kenya and Abbey tomorrow, which is a great one. So look, make sure you're there. Make sure you're looking at the round table that comes out tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Welcome along,
That is
weekend
unbelievable.
roundup. Oh my days. We're in for a great show today, guys. Well, what about the North London derby?
I'm not getting rattled.
And we're 3 points off top 4, so it's not looking too bad.
Foden 88, Saka 87. I think that's wrong.
Nice that you put your top on. You want to take it off and get the branding out? Happy birthday!
Make a wish to win the league.
I did.
But how much chance will Arsenal have of winning the Champions League?
0, mate.
If we got through
Can't do it.
PSV, do you think there's any chance?
No.
Hang on, let me finish.
Predictions:
2-1 Tottenham.
3-1 Liverpool.
2-0 Wolves. Chelsea to beat Man United at Old Trafford.
Still there.
You're in trouble if we win this game.
You better not lose on Saturday.
We beat the world champions this weekend. That makes you world champion.
We're the world champions, but you're not in a title race.
This is why you'll never win the league.
6 billion down the drain.
Robbie celebrating a 1-0 win. Abby, Pilates instead of trophies. You never walk alone.
Catch us every Monday for the weekend roundup.